Grant Dania now.
It's Grant Dania.
The gold lady this year. Oh my God, it's Grant Dania.
And our mom, Shazzy Dania. She's really crazy.
It's all true.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Shazzy Denya.
Hey, what's up? Hey, you guys. You want a coffee? Welcome to Boston.
What?
I don't know.
What the hell?
My friend Jimmy, he runs like a pizza shop down the corner.
Do you know what's so funny is how much Sailor loves Friends? And
Yeah.
she talks to us like we've never seen the show before.
She's like, you guys wouldn't understand. There's a show called Friends, and
Yeah.
it's really funny. We're going,
Yeah.
yep.
And there's a girl on it called Phoebe Buffet.
Yep.
And she talks like this and she sings a song called Smelly Cat.
And we get it, mate. We
I'm
were there.
like, it's a serious deja vu.
Yeah. And like every time we go, yeah, I understand, mate. I've seen it. It's like 30 years old.
And she goes, and Joey,
Yep. Still get
how
it.
you doing?
Still, yep. I watched it when it first came out. Watched the original episodes. Go to air, darling. You don't need to school me on it. I'm all on board.
Or the other day she came home from shopping with her friends and she said, Mum, I have to listen to Van Halen.
Van Halen.
Yeah, and I said, why? She said, oh, because there's a really cool T-shirt and it has Van Halen on it.
I like a vintage T-shirt.
Yeah, well, so you know when we were growing up and the 70s like costumes were like really out there and really kind of cool, you know, if
Yeah.
you wanted to dress up in a costume, you wore something from the 70s or from
yeah.
the 60s. Well, now it's the 90s.
Yeah, because they were old as fuck.
It was,
Yeah.
How sad is that?
Well, everything goes in 30-year cycles. So, yeah, it...
And you know, when I looked through Cotton On the other day, because they've got a whole range, and their whole store is designed, you know, to follow trends at an affordable price, apparently.
it's unsponsored.
Unsponsored. And they've got all 90s gear.
Oh, right.
And I was looking, thinking, I love those shoes. I had a pair of those shoes when I was young. And then I picked up another skirt and I was like, I remember I made one of those wraparound skirts when I was in year 7. And then it was only after I walked like through the aisle, I thought, hang on a second, there's a real theme here. These are all clothes that I used to have. It's all come back.
God, did you pick yourself up a Smelly Cat T-shirt?
No. But I did pick up a Pink Floyd T-shirt.
Yeah, I guess we would have gone through... Well, I remember, I think flared jeans went through a phase, you know, at some period. And that was a throwback to the 70s.
I still like flared jeans.
We had them in like, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's where we're at.
What did you wear in the 90s? We actually need to know this because we're going to a 90s party next week.
I was full Seinfeld spec. So I had jeans with white runners.
Ooh,
yeah.
nice.
Tucked in T-shirt. I was a sex magnet.
What? Did you have the flat top then with the rat's tail at the back?
Bro, that wasn't in the 90s. That was late 80s. I had the... actually, maybe it was. Actually, no, it was.
So you would have been...
Early 90s, I had the flat top with the rat's tail at the
You would have
same
been
time.
12 in the
Somewhere
90s.
around there, yeah.
Yeah, so I was 10. Mm-hmm. In 1990, I turned 10.
If you had passed me in the street rocking my flat top with rat's tail, which is an almighty combination, I don't think you'd never see that double duties done.
No.
On the head. What would you have thought?
Pretty hot, maybe? I don't know.
As if you would have gone, is that a homeless kid? What is that? Is
I
that
didn't
a
wanna be
street
mean.
urchin?
I don't know. Well, in the 90s, I had a permed fringe, which is never a good idea. My parents wouldn't let me perm my hair, so I had like longer hair and it was real thin and like wispy and awful and blonde, like a dirty blonde. And then I had a really big permed fringe.
You
So
look like a sheep. I've seen the
I
photos.
looked like a bull.
You look, yeah, actually, yeah.
You know those bulls with the big fairy bit at the front?
Big
Yeah.
curly hair.
Yeah. And I wore happy pants with Doc Martens
How good were happy pants?
and
That's
me-
something that I'm pretty happy if it came back.
And remember the Cuda Lines jumpers?
I couldn't afford those.
Yeah, well, I
Dreamed of them though. I dreamed of that and a Quicksilver jacket.
I don't know what that was. But
Quicksilver?
yeah, I
the
know
surf
what
brand.
but what does the jacket look like?
Maybe it was just a Melbourne thing. I don't know. Melbourne went through this really big surfy period in the 90s. No, I think the whole country did.
Yeah, it was Point Break. Keanu
yeah,
Reeves.
It's a bit of that. When surfing was big, you know, you had Kelly Slater. He was appearing on things like Baywatch.
He wore the Coup de Lions jacket. I think that's what started the trend.
No, I think he was sponsored by one of the other brands. But he, that was so big. There were people, there were kids who were living so far inland, wearing all these surf brands, who had never seen a wave.
Yeah, they were all in Bathurst.
Saving up all their bucks just to wear Quicksilver, Rip Curl. I had a Rip Curl wallet and the old Velcro wallet early on.
I had a Mambo one with the dog who was farting with a music note.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool.
It's so funny.
And then Lenny Kravitz. I loved Lenny Kravitz from when I was 14.
Actually, our guest will be pretty bang on with all this referencing of the 90s, because he was a really big deal in the late 90s, still is, but...
Who have we got?
Dylan Lewis.
Ooh.
So ABC, Recovery, we're talking Saturday mornings, the big music show.
Yes.
It was legendary in Australian households for young kids growing up.
Yeah.
And he was the host. He was the man.
Yeah, right.
Of course, he won the Jungle Show last year.
Yes.
I'm a Celebrity. He won Celebrity Big Brother in 2002.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
So this man kind of is responsible for a lot of the trends of the 90s. Should we bring him in?
Yes.
Right, let's get him on board.
And George isn't here today, by the way, because he has to work.
George,
We keep saying that. George is working very hard round the clock, so
he's
you
currently
gotta put your
yeah,
buttons up.
He's currently growing his flap top and rat's tail. He's trying to get on board the trends. It's going to come
Poor
back.
George. We love George. We love you, George. He is still with us, but he's just had to work a lot. Hey.
Just waiting for...
Oh, there's a scary face happening.
Hey! Paisano, ladies and
Give him
gentlemen.
an applause.
The great Dylan Lewis joins us!
Woo!
Give an applause.
Are you with guitar in hand?
Oh, my God.
I was waiting.
Sorry, brother. You were just belting out a couple of big tracks where you're waiting for Australia's hottest new podcast to hook you up.
Do you mean Australia's hottest new award-winning podcast?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Have you heard of all the awards that we haven't won yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep pretending that we're just going to make up some awards.
Well,
and
we
then-
keep failing in every category. First we were comedy, and then that category was too hard because there's too many Peter Helliers in there. And then so we went to education.
I don't know why.
A bit
'cause
clustered. And then we went to sexual development. That was our next category.
we failed at that as well.
But our clothes were on. We lost the award because our clothes are on in our YouTube videos.
Yeah.
No. I think you're definitely on the way to winning awards, and if you just keep putting it out there to the universe, she'll listen,
Yes.
Yeah, she will.
Absolutely.
and then you can have more international guests instead of just homegrown bollocks like me.
Oh,
We coincidentally started a conversation, says you know, in the opening of this podcast. And we are
Yes.
recording right now because I legally have to tell you this. But you're a media professional and you'll know anyway. We were just kicking around 90s fashion.
because our daughter came home the other day, she's 12, and she said, I have to listen to Van Halen. And it was so random. Yeah. And I said, what? Because I thought I misheard her. And she said, I have to listen to Van Halen. Why?
Well, she does.
Yeah, because it's on a T-shirt. And it looks really cool.
Do you know, that is impressive, because normally the people who don the T-shirts, the Ramones T-shirts, the Chili Peppers T-shirts, the Van Halen T-shirts, if you ask them to name a song, they can't. And it makes me sad.
Preach.
I know. Does it annoy you when you see all these? Because like all through Cotton On at the moment and lots of other shops, there's T-shirts with like Guns N' Roses and...
Yeah, Run DMC is everywhere.
Yes.
It's true. But whatever door is offered to the young people to come into this world of music, 90s music, 80s music, whatever door, it doesn't matter. As long as they come in. And if it's encouraging people to go and say, Mum, I need to listen to Van Halen, good.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
that's
hear
good,
you.
isn't it? That's a good thing.
I remember once first venturing into music that had naughty lyrics. Now, my first introduction to a naughty cassette was actually a mate of mine when I was living in
cassette.
in Gosford had a Cheech and Chong album on cassette.
yeah.
And so we used to just we go in our room at night time when we had sleepovers and we'd play it. We'd just giggle and we didn't want the parents to know that we got it. And so we had that for years. But then music-wise, I remember listening to Guns N' Roses and there was F-bombs in it. And I had to go into my mum and say, look, I'm really digging this stuff, Mum. I really feel that I'm evolving as a human being and I'm really growing intellectually and musically. Is it okay if I listen to tracks that have swear words in them? Come and hear this solo first by Slash and then make your decision. And she was like, you know what, mate? It's all good. As long as your little sister doesn't hear it, I'm happy for you to enjoy music if it expands your mind. And I was like,
that's very
go,
lit.
Mum.
That's good.
Yeah, that's very
well done.
liberating, isn't it?
It is. It's very good. These days, it's hard to avoid any tracks with explicit
So true.
language.
True.
You know, I'll put on youth stations and worryingly look into the back seat to see if my children have learnt any more bad words. But it's not as bad as it used to be. The impact isn't as strong because our children all went through lockdown with us.
Yes.
And so they've heard all the words now.
That is so true.
How old are yours?
10 and 14.
Yeah.
See, we've been slipping a few extras.
Since COVID.
Yeah,
You're
since
spot
COVID
on.
as
Yeah.
well.
I didn't swear before COVID.
No, you didn't.
No.
And now you're a fucking animal at it.
Now every second word is, would you fucking clean your
But
room?
to
No.
me, I don't think, and mate, I'm sure not everyone feels the same, but I feel they're just words, and I would rather intention, and I would rather people's feelings, and I would rather those things matter more than just 4 letters.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of language, having swear words. I remember it must have been in about year 10. We had a really cool English teacher who opened up the discussion of swear words, and we were allowed to say them in class at last. And
That would be
talk
so
about
cool.
just talk about why they were so impactful and the roots and the origins of some of these words, and watching how the impactfulness changes and evolves even over the last couple of decades. There's words now which I would never say, which were quite okay to say in the 80s, which were basically disgusting and racist or homophobic, and that was 80s. But the swear words in the 80s, oh no, you can't do any of those. But these days the swear words are fine comparative to some of the other disgusting, insulting words. But you're right, Grant. It's a lot about intention as well.
I was just thinking when you were talking about that, when Scout was a little baby, that's our middle child, I remember picking Sailor, our eldest, up from school, and she had been playing in the front of the car, and she'd been playing with all the knobs and, and I turned the car on. Do you remember this story? It was so embarrassing. And at the top of the stereo came "Fuck the Police," right?
Oh, yeah, cool.
Like at the school, sitting right, I was as close as you could get, and it was like, "Fuck the police, fuck the police," and I was like having a heart palpitation. That was your fault. That was your song.
That was my fault. But
that's not a fault. That's great. It's like the lyrics in that song aren't as awkward as explaining the name of that band.
Yeah.
You have to say it's NWA and then
Leave
what
it
does
at
that stand for? And then you can't, I'm not telling you. It's
I didn't
horrible.
know that. I thought
can't
it was
say it.
NWA.
You don't know what it is?
No.
Oh my God.
Well, you'll have to tell me later. But,
yeah, I'll tell you later.
That song.
Well, see, even worse. You know how sometimes when your stereo, you'll turn your car on, and sometimes, depending on how you got your stereo set up, it'll default to either the first song alphabetically that you have in your order of tracks.
Yes.
So there was a period, and I had to change the stereo so it wouldn't automatically default back to alphabetical. Let's go with A first, because the first song was NWA's "A Bitch Is a Bitch," so AB. And so
Yes,
every
that's
time we
right.
turn the car on, "A Bitch Is a Bitch" would start, and again,
Yeah,
they go,
that's
"Dad, it's
problematic.
playing again."
I have that.
Yeah.
I have the same problem. It's either Kool Keith, who's a rapper who's very explicit and wrong, or it's that bloody U2 album that they forced onto all of our phones. Do you remember when U2 released that album and then all of a sudden it's on all my devices and it keeps defaulting back to the U2? And I try and delete it. I don't want that. They're a great band. That's fine. But because you forced it onto me, no. I refuse to listen to it, and it keeps popping up
What's
every
that?
single
What's
time.
the album?
It was an album, and when kind of like mainstream streaming became along rather than like Napster or LimeWire
Yes.
or the illegal ways we were doing it, when sort of Apple got its act together and the iPhone was starting to kick along and all our music was now arranged on there, U2 released a new album and they did a deal with Apple, and the condition was that every device had to be given the entire album, whether you wanted it or not.
It's the worst. It was a really nice intention,
Yeah.
but the result was irritating. And it came out in 2014. Songs of Innocence is the name of
Songs
the
of
album.
Innocence.
None of us
And
can
still
remember
on all
it.
my devices. I can't get rid of it.
So did they get
Heaps of backlash.
Oh, they did it. Yeah, right.
Heaps of backlash because at that stage too, we probably could only keep 25 songs in our iPod. You know what I mean? And like 18 of them was their album. So like you'd bump off your Britney Spears, and now all of a sudden I've got to listen to 18 tracks of U2. So there was and they only very recently actually apologized. They realized they got it wrong. And Apple tried to warn them and said, "Mate, you probably shouldn't do this. Everyone might hate you for it." And they pretty
People
much
don't
did.
like your present, mate.
Yeah.
Take it away. Don't like your present. Like rocking up to a nice dinner party with a cask.
What's wrong with that? Just asking for a
Oh,
friend.
nothing.
Oh.
No.
A cask of Moselle.
I think there's a lot of ethical casks these days. And it actually, I know I've got a
Ethical
chef friend who
cask.
said that it keeps better in a cask. You can keep it on the
No.
bench for... Yeah, because there's no oxygen gets in because it's just a bladder.
And you also get a pillow once you finish drinking it.
when you've passed
A
out.
bath pillow. Oh my God. How many of those bath pillows did we have in the 80s in our 80s spa? Oh my God. An embarrassing amount. That's how many.
know.
That was in the day when my parents would go, can you just nip up the shop and get us a cooler bar?
Yeah.
As a kid. Oh, it's not for me. It's for the parents. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would you like some cigarettes too?
Yeah,
son?
yeah.
No.
I used to go. I got to a point where I refused to buy my mum cigarettes.
right, I
So
forgot.
she'd make me go up to the shop and go, "Can you?" I can't remember what she used to smoke. I'm sure it was some sort of menthol thing that had a picture of a white sandy beach. Because cigarettes
Alpines.
take you instantly to a holiday. I remember going up there.
God, not like now.
And then even back then, I'm like, these aren't healthy. I said, Mum, you're going to have to go and buy your own cancer sticks. I'm not doing it anymore at the age of about
Good boy.
11. And just like put my foot down. And boy, did that make her angry. Jesus, she was
Yeah,
furious.
but were you allowed to get like a lolly for yourself when you were at the shops, like a giant rat? Yes.
Oh, giant
Oh, the
rats.
giant
Oh,
rats.
my God. Yes,
Yes.
remember those.
Oh, yes.
God.
That was like even the precursor to the python, maybe. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, and remember they were like 3 for 5 cents or something, like something.
Yeah.
Now it's like $1.
Speaking of rats,
were the days.
we were talking about 90s fashion before you came on, and I had to reveal that I had both at the same time a flat top with a rat's tail at the back. As you were pioneering Australian television in the 90s, of which we loved and adored because you were an exciting talent, a broadcaster of the likes we had never seen, you lit up neurons in our brain where little me, who was only ever used to seeing boring TV journalists who
talked like this and used language like the perpetrators decamped the scene.
You're going, who the fuck talks like that? You came along, I was like, oh my God, I'd lit up. And then
that's nice.
you pioneered so much broadcasting styles, but trends and bands of that period. Did you surely you've had some fashion choices of which you deeply regret?
My regretful fashion choices continue to this day. But I should probably just listen to my kids and my wife more because they're like, you can't go out like that. And I'm like, yes, I can. It's funny. Get it? It's funny.
It's
Now ironic because you'll be in a photo and you'll regret it. And then lo and behold, next minute, yes,
Yeah.
they are correct. So I continue to make bad fashion choices, but I go through the phases. I think the worst fashion in inverted commas, because I was still finding my tribe, was in the 80s, and it was on at school when we had free dress day, and I would rock up in, and I thought I'm a rude boy. I'm going to dress as a rude boy, and I'd wear boots and braces, and everyone else at the school was like into Barnsey and Farnsey and Diesel, and I was the only one into this strange music which required me to dress in a certain way, and so I was ostracized and bullied, like because that was what was done in the 80s by the teachers and the students alike. But I think the worst part about the 80s fashion was just before I started dressing myself, when I was still being dressed by parents, and everything in the 80s was itchy and uncomfortable and a bit choky. Like, why have I got a skivvy that makes it constricts my throat?
Yeah.
And what is this fabric that just makes me itchy? Wait, what is this pretend jumper from Vic Market? I don't like it. I don't look good.
That's so true.
And
God.
the dodgy haircuts.
Well,
I had a bowl cut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My whole family had a matching bowl cut.
Oh,
It was so wrong.
No, it wasn't our fault. It was the boomers. It's all of them. They were trying to. I don't know if they were trying to teach us a lesson or kill us, but it was.
I don't think they had a
bad
terrible
haircuts.
great regard for us. I think is what the 80s is all about.
No, that was the last era where you didn't have to look after your kids properly. You'd say, go and ride your bike. Don't worry about helmets.
Yeah.
Don't worry about seatbelts in the car. Can you pass my ciggies in the car? Can you pass my ciggies on the aeroplane?
Yeah.
And we'll have pass my ciggies in the restaurant and we'll have a little smoke.
Yeah.
No one. I think they were trying. Maybe they were just trying to toughen us up. And look at us now. Aren't we thriving?
We're not broken
Resilient.
at all or damaged.
Not even much broken. Hardly even at all.
No.
Great. Thank you, 80s.
I'm so
Thank you,
together.
Bernard.
It's been nothing but 5 years of constant amount of therapy for me in the last 5 years to try and undo all that wonderful. Kids, wind the windows up. Mum's going to have a smoke. Let's hotbox this. Hotbox this bastard.
I don't want to put ash on you, so put the windows up. Thank you. And then the ashtray that just wouldn't close anymore because it's full.
So many
full
were
of
in there.
butts.
We all had the same childhood.
I was only talking about
Did
the other
we?
day that when I was flying back from a gig, it really wasn't that long ago until they took the cigarette ashtray out of the armrest of the planes.
Oh, in the little planes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the planes, all the TAAs had the little ashy. All of the Ansets had the ashy, didn't they? And it was a problematic thing because I remember I used to travel a bit when I was younger, because when my parents split up and Mum was in Adelaide and I was in Melbourne, they'd send me over to Adelaide every now and then to make me happier. And always in the ashtray thing, there'd be Chewy, but sometimes some funny bugger would leave a note in there saying there's a bomb on the plane.
Oh, that's clever. That's what a
I found
genius.
those notes sometimes, and you'd go, do I tell someone? Because if I tell someone, this is going to be delayed.
Yeah.
But if I don't tell someone, there might be a bomb, 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 bomb.
I'd rather attempt to at least get there on time rather than explode midair. You know, that you had to make the call.
Priorities.
And I get that. I do get that. Hey, do you reckon I've been thinking about this a lot as to the reasons why I do what I do and what industry I have chosen or the universe chose for me. You mentioned a little earlier on being bullied by friends and teachers alike. And you maybe perhaps, and I might be paraphrasing incorrectly here, that you were a little bit different than those around you and built a little bit different. Do you reckon that there is a coincidence or a chance that perhaps that you are a broadcaster? Because ultimately, and maybe this has a little bit of separated parent syndrome as well, which I had as well.
Grant, you're going deep on me already.
I know, yeah.
Brother.
Okay, go. Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Of an internal, whether you're aware of it or not, eternal need to be seen and heard and validated.
No.
You don't think so?
There's probably something in that combination of events and circumstances that led to this. And it's probably a similar combination that led to me getting quite heavily tattooed and pierced and joined bands and stuff. But I've always felt deep down quite reluctant to be in the positions that I am. Like not ungrateful, but I think it's funny. I thought it was funny that I got the job on Recovery in the 90s presenting a music show when that wasn't what I had studied for. I didn't study journalism or any TV things. I didn't even know if you could. I just found myself in that role. And throughout the next 25 years of career, I've always felt like an outsider in the media. I've always felt like sort of representing the real people or something.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Grant,
Yeah.
I never had the BBC English voice for an accent, and I didn't know how to do it, and I always felt like, well, I'm doing my best, and I'd researched a lot, and I studied teaching, so I had those kind of skills of being able to speak in front of some people, a class of 30 kids, and researching and cramming and getting ready, and then so I had this skill set which applied, but I never felt like I belonged. And I've just turned 50 this year, and it's only now that I'm starting to come to terms with, and starting to realize that's what I've been doing this whole career. It's whether it was on Recovery or any of the other music shows that I was, hosting since then. Like there was Recovery, 10:30 slot, Pepsi Live, Video Hits. Then there was Triple J. There was Nova for many, many years. I've always felt like I've tricked them into giving me the job. But because I'm passionate and because I think it works with that connecting with an audience, that I'm not unapproachable, I'm real. So there's, but I do have I have the skills of not only prepping for the thing, but the passion and the performance side of me understands how to do the jobs that I've done. But it's only now that I'm going, that's why I've been doing it. Because I've taken it for granted a bit, and I've taken it for granted a bit, but I've always, and jobs have just come to me. But now, only in the last few years, it's like, okay, this is a very different landscape, and I've had to re-find myself and work out what my brand is, and apply a different way of approaching this whole industry now, with social media, with big TikTok, YouTube, Instagram stars. So now I'm like, okay, I have to sell myself now, and it's a very different place to be. Before, if there was a music job on telly, I'd probably be involved in some way, or if there was a radio gig, cool. But now I can't do that. So I'm in this weird place where I'm having to self-evaluate and having to look at myself and having to go, all right, what is it that I do? Like, I can't write it on a resume. What am I? Like, well, I went and lived in England for a while, and they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, and they're like, are you a comedian? I'm like, no, not a comedian. If I'm a comedian, then you expect me to make you laugh, and that's not funny. It's not a pleasant surprise if something's funny. Yeah. And are you a journalist? Like, nope, no, not a journalist. So now I'm going, okay, I'm not a comedian. I'm not a journalist. I'm sort of a bit hosty, but even when I host things, whether it's an emceeing an event or doing radio or doing television, I'm still. I've always felt like I'm pretending a bit, and a little bit of the imposter syndrome.
I was just about to say that.
Now I think I'm only now getting to the place where I go, okay, I'm not taking it for granted now. I'm really having to hone in on what I do, and hopefully now the next part of my life will start to unfold, and I can say to the universe, what have you got in store for me today? And I'll see what happens. And I'm in that kind of place a lot more than I've ever been before, which is, I think it's a bit scary. But it's also quite healthy, because part of this process of going, all right, what am I doing has been just cleaning up my act a bit. I was all just going, those things at used car places.
The big inflatable man.
That's me in the morning.
Inflatable things. Yeah. That was me just for 25 years. Like a Muppet, like falling into jobs. Going, now I'm just finding I've got to be a little bit more focused. I won't lose the inflatable man at these car places kind of vibe, because that just comes out. That Muppet, that Guy Smiley, Sesame Street kind of vibe is just part of what I am. But
that's
now I
hard.
think
It's hard. It's a tough time in the industry. We're only talking about this. Well, we talk about it a lot, don't we?
Well, it's evolving from what it was to what it will be. And at the moment, it's in a period of retraction. And then until it sort of collapses and whatever births out of it will be the great new thing for all of us as consumers and entertainment watchers.
Little baby AI. Oh, look at my little baby AI.
Exactly.
But you talk about something like imposter syndrome. But I think my theory is that imposter syndrome is a pretty powerful ingredient for making greatness. Like, I think imposter syndrome makes you feel like you don't quite, you shouldn't quite be there. You're not quite like everyone else. So you tend to make it very differently, and you tend to try a hell of a lot harder because you think you don't have it already in you.
You mean it
that
makes
you're
you
not
humble
special or great. So you dig deeper and you find something that's extra special inside of you when you are performing or doing or creating. And I think you'd find probably a lot of the top great company creators, I'm sure, have quite a bit of imposter syndrome in there, because I think it forces you to work harder than the person next to you. I think it means that you feel like you're in a big race, and the only way to stand out from the pack is to try harder and be better. And I think it can be a superpower.
Yeah.
But it can also wear you down.
Insightful. Look, I think so.
And it can also make you.
Absolutely.
I don't know if
it did.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if it happened to you like it has, happened with us getting older. As you start to age a bit, you start to rethink, what am I doing? Is this pointless? Am I helping anyone? And the entertainment industry is a really tricky one as you start to get a bit older.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you can imagine this, going really well in a successful radio career and then leaving it and then going, what do I do? Oh, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? That was my position. And, up until, was it 2020, going really great, getting good ratings, doing breakfast on Nova in Adelaide. And then I found myself going, okay, I feel like I'm losing the essence of what I am. I'm just coming up with this fast content. It gets made, it goes boom. It's, my passion was I think it was being stifled. My artisticness, my creativity was commercialized to the extent where it wasn't enough heart in it. It was just boom, here we can do this, boom, we can do that. And then when I left the commercial radio, it was going great. I left on a high note. But I left at a time when I thought, I think I've got to just look after my mental health here. And then the pandemic started. And then for 2 years, I'm like, that was was it bad timing or was it perfect timing? I'm not sure. So it's taken me, since I left commercial radio, it's taken me a few years to get to a place where I'm not feeling so impostery, and I'm starting now to rediscover my creativity. That's the reason that I first got employed doing recovery. I was in a band, I was making music. I was performing 3 or 4 gigs a week. It was fun. I had that spark. I was just create, just pouring out of me. And the longer that I did that for and tried to apply the me into these holes that I didn't necessarily fit into, I'm a round peg and they are square holes. It's the more I just started losing the reason that I got into the industry. So only now have I started to go, right, come on. And it's hard. It's like, I've got to write a song, I've got to make some music, and just doing that with my children, doing that with myself, and now I'm going, that's that scene in Hook where a little kid goes up to Peter Pan, who's older, because Robin Williams, and he stretches his face back.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And you can see the young Peter Pan again.
Yeah.
It's like, there
he is.
Pan. There he is. He's in there still. That's the moment that I'm in now. I'm finding Pan again. Finding Pan.
That's the name
your
of
title
your new
track,
album.
brother.
Oh my God. Are you a Virgo?
No, I lost my virginity. Probably is around a 10 or 11.
Oh, that just made me wheezy.
Year 10 or 11, or you were 10 or 11?
A year. I mean, okay, we should move past
It
that.
involved a lolly rat and a.
It was legal. It was a fine.
Oh my god, that just made
All
me.
fine.
No, because I
I'm-
could see so many similarities with you and Grant with the whole music and the guitar, and that's your outlet. That's why I wondered if you're a Virgo. And am I right? Did you go and see a psychic a little while ago?
The only way you can know that is if you are a bit psychic.
I am.
She's
coming
doing a
to-
mediumship course at the moment, of which she's graduated her first level.
I
so
have. I've got
it's-
some
it's
time to
going,
come.
It's going well.
Yeah.
I think you need to maybe work on your astrology a little bit more because you did not guess my star sign.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's not my forte.
I'm a clearly
Sagittarius.
Piscean,
Oh, Pisces.
Piscean Aquarius cusp.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Maybe there's a Virgo rising. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah,
But
see, there's so many
I've always
grades.
felt a bit of an affinity with Grant. I've always watched your career and thought, yeah, I think we're on quite a similar kind of journey.
Yeah.
My media bro. But yes, I did see a psychic, and the reason I saw a psychic, as you're probably already aware, because you have.
I'm psychic. Yeah.
Yeah. It was because my daughter got it for me for a Christmas present, and I've never gone to a psychic before. I've always said, no, you do you,
Yeah.
and I'll do me. Okay, you do your things. You can do your Reiki and your psychic stuff. That's great. It's all
Yeah.
pretend, and it's lovely. I know it's not pretend. I know Reiki works because I do it on my cat, and she reacts.
She loves it.
But the psychic, yeah, it was as I expected, really good. Like it was pretty spot on. But
Was it?
Yeah.
Did you record it and did you get some?
no,
No.
That's the
are you
trick.
allowed to record it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
record it because then you review it sort of, in a few months ago. What did she say about that? And you go back and then you'll realise that 2 to 3 or 4 things that she'd said have already come true.
Yeah.
But you need to revisit
Yeah,
the
damn it.
reading.
I should have. I didn't know if that was kosher because I haven't been to
before.
psychics before.
Did it fill you with hope or with
Didn't change anything.
I think I went to the psychic at the right time in my life. It was only just earlier this year, and it was at a time where I was really struggling with that thing of, who am I? Am I a bunyip? What am I? Where do I fit? What's going on? Why is everyone else a bit different? And why do I insist on persisting with my difference? And she, when I spoke to her, she basically said, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And didn't need to say much more, but she did. And she got quite specific with things about certain people in my life that maybe, and certain people that really hurt me, that I've held this thing about. And I think she helped me go, oh, what am I doing? I don't need to. They may have hurt me, but it doesn't even matter. I've been hurt heaps worse than what these people have done. They just disappointed me. They just were like, here's an example of humanity gone wrong. And getting that happening in my brain then I guess led to a place of peace where I'm like, I feel sorry for not in a wanker way, like I just feel like, oh, they've got a problem and it caused me a problem and I am the one holding on to it. They let it go years ago.
Yeah.
They don't even think about it. They don't even know about it. I'm the one carrying that burden and I don't need to. That's all. And that's what it's been about, the last couple of years and finding out why I'm a bunyip and seeing a psychic and having time to reflect and then time to worry about turning 50 and go, I don't know what my job is.
Yeah.
And now having to come to terms with the fact that my job is to do me and
Is
whatever context that's in, if it's a radio show or a band or being a father or being a husband or being a friend, I have to be okay with being me. I can't be someone else. And people have tried to make me someone else and people have gone, why don't you talk more about sport and politics? And I go, because I don't like it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I'll try. I'll give it a go. But you will know that my heart is not in it because I will be honest.
Yeah.
You know? And then, so now here I am, and Grant's slowly just picking apart my psyche. And,
Sorry.
No, I'm just about to say, hey, what a nice gift from one session from a psychic. She found a piece of trauma that was sitting inside of you and just went, you know what, it's going to be okay. And you all of a sudden you've let go of this thing, and which was a limiting belief and probably preventing you from moving into this new place that you need to be in. And
it was a blockage. For sure, it was a blockage.
Holy shit.
And one that, you know, I don't like those feelings. I don't like not liking someone. And Grant, you said earlier, has all of the, you know, and the bullying was a normal amount of bullying. You know, I wasn't bashed often. But, you know, did that make me have a need to be seen and loved? No, but I don't like it if people don't like me, because I'm not an asshole. I really want everyone to be happy. I want to see other people, and that's part of who I am, and that's part of, you know, what I'm happy with, that part of me, you know. And I'm reluctant, you know, in the public eye often. I don't want to walk into a room and go, everyone, look at this guy, the party's here. I want to go into the corner and find someone to have a lovely chat with that I will get something out of, and that will make them feel the world's okay. That's the kind of people that I want to hang out with. That's the kind of message that I want to send. It's I guess it's hope for me, but, you know, and I'm constantly searching for that hope. I don't want to lose faith in humanity. You turn on the news and it's quite easy to go, we've lost it.
Terrible.
We've lost our way. But then, you know, I had this little epiphany the other day about all this and about why it's still okay to have hope. And the epiphany was, there are shitheads in the world who are, you know, who I do feel sorry for a little bit, in inverted commas. I feel like, you've lost your way. You need a hug. There are shit people. But those people, the ones who are making the news stories every single night, the ones who are starting wars and making America great again, the nasty ones make a lot of noise. They are noisy. They do. These leaders, the bad people, the stuff that fills our news streams, they're just noisy. And the good people are quiet and getting on with their stuff.
It's the noisy minority.
Yeah,
well, I think you've obviously
noisy minority.
You've got a strong people-pleasing streak in you, which comes from a great place, right?
So do we.
That's we're guilty. That's because you got a good soul and you want people to be happy, and you don't want to be the bearer of darkness, and you don't want to impact negatively on other people's lives. You want to uplift. You want to pull people up with you.
I think that's how we evolve as a species. I think we get that focus on the positive and the light. That's how we can take the next step forward, where, you know, like in Star Trek, where they look back on this time in history and go, remember when we had money and war? Remember when people didn't know what they were supposed to do in life? Now it's all fine.
But you think about, we were joking about how far we'd come from the 80s when we're talking about our parents smoking in the car with us, you know, not wearing seatbelts, loosely parenting us as we disappear and ride our bikes 3 suburbs away. You know, probably past about 8 pedophiles' houses.
I was about to say that.
We you know what I mean? I'm sure we will look back on, hopefully in just another 20 or 30 years, and go, God, look, what an undeveloped stage we were in, you know, where we had very little spirituality in us, but it was awakening. It was coming, you know, it was the nucleus of change. But I think, I don't know where I was going.
I don't think everybody is going through that. I have hope,
of course, that's where where we'll be. I think there is. I hope. But I do think that there is a broader spirituality awakening in us as a mass.
A rising of consciousness.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I felt like in 1999, when we were all wearing our wide raver pants and piercing parts of our bodies that weren't supposed to be pierced, I feel like we were all waiting for the millennium bug, and we all thought this is going to be the Renaissance. This is going to be the rebirth. When it hits 2000, everyone's just going to flick that switch from dickheads to lit,
Yep.
and we're all going to be fine. But that just, it's taking longer than it's not a quick switch. We've almost had to swing all this other way for all the people to be noisy again. I don't know. I feel like we're doing the right thing, but it's got to swing really far one way and then really far the other way, and then somewhere in the middle, it'll just find the right spot to sit, that pendulum of on and off, and evolution and devolution. And it's easy to look around now, but only 10 years ago, I felt like we were on the right path. We're getting there. And then all of a sudden, world events happen that make you go, oh, hang on, we were nearly there. But I think that's just that swinging pendulum. And Grant, hopefully in 20 years, the pendulum is swinging into the right place.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you have to have
everyone who's a dickhead's put their hand, put their hand up, haven't they? And put a red hat on and gone, hey, we're here. Just put them all on one island and let them be there. That's fine. And then the rest of us can just evolve into the light beings that we're supposed to be.
I love your energy, Dylan. Like, you're just so effervescent. But how the hell, when you're in the jungle, how did you maintain that? Like, did you just feel really depleted? Because I know, Grant, we've spoken about it a bit. You felt like you had nothing. There's no food. And
well, we went in, ours was a different time of year. We went in the back end of the year where other people start at the start of the year. And I think there's a big difference energy-wise. I think when you're heading towards the new year and Christmas, you're kind of running out of whatever you had during the year. And I think starting the year in the jungle, I don't know, might be a little bit easier than finishing the year in the jungle. That was my only thought.
Did you feel that you had, really high energy going in, and then you just like, because you still seemed quite energetic in there. I really enjoyed, we voted for you a lot, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, there's another similarity between us. We've both been in the jungle and in the bloody snake thing.
Oh, you did that too.
Are you scared of snakes? Like, do you have a
shit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew that you said that you were, but I just wondered if it was like, as
since Adam and Eve, they've been shit.
Yeah, that shit's in our DNA.
Well, we are designed to fear them. But I didn't. No, to answer your question, I didn't feel depleted energy. I felt massive surges of energy, and that's. We filmed our one, I think it was in about August. And then it got screened in January, and then the finale was live.
Oh, that's right. You did do yours the same way as us. Yeah, right.
Right.
Gotcha.
So you can't use that as an excuse.
yeah. Right.
Just because you're a massive wuss.
Yeah.
So I think part of the reason that I didn't feel depleted, like everyone else was going, oh, we're hungry. And I'm like, well, you should have eaten more before you came in. I went in there with reserves. I just ate. In the week before, I just ate a lot.
Right.
And went in there with like weeks of supply of fat, like a camel.
Right. So did Grant, but it didn't help.
But then
yours was alcohol.
But having no alcohol also increased my energy. So I was just, because I don't mind a beer. I stopped now, but yeah, so there was just natural energy. But also I find in those kind of situations, of which I've been in a few, I actually love it. And it was the same. In 2002, I did Celebrity Big Brother, and it was the same. People are like, "This is boring," and I'm like, "No. This is fun. Like we're being paid to fuck around. We're being paid to play. This is great. This is like I've been working my whole life towards a place where you can just play, and whether it's playing music or playing acting or playing the role of a DJ on the radio or the role of a host, it's playing. And so in a Big Brother house or in a jungle, it's playtime. And I saw around me others reacting quite differently. They were like, I'm bored. And when I was in the jungle, I don't know if it was like this for you, Grant, but every day, everyone would have a nap or 3. And they'd go, nothing to do. And they'd just go and lie on their shit bed and have a nap. And I'd be like, why would you? This is once in a lifetime. Just stay awake. Like if anything, stay awake so you can at least get to sleep at night times, because you're in the jungle, and it's weird. But I couldn't understand why people wanted to miss anything. Like, oh, you'll miss it. Like maybe it's a bit of FOMO on my behalf, but I found things to make and do and play and every minute of every day. I love it. I love doing those things. Whether it's like I found myself making instruments in the jungle, and I made a tuned bush marimba out of bits of wood, which I found each bit of wood played the right notes. I had a whole scale.
That's so cool.
Shit like that it was the best. I loved it, and so no depletion of energy. I think I had one nap, and it was on about the second last day, and it was. I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. I'm like, oh no, I'm failing. Oh.
How were you?
I think it was about 5 minutes.
How were you with the gross foods?
I think going in, that was one of my fears. I'm like, oh no, everyone's going to tease me because I ate a dick forever. But once in there, that was kind of the least of our worries.
Yeah.
For me personally, if there was going to be scary challenges, that I was much more afraid of balancing on high bits of metal with the potential to fall. Like I hate heights. I'm not supposed to be up high in the air.
Because you're a fish. You're a Pisces.
Because I'm a Pisces.
Yeah. In the water.
I'm a water baby.
Do you
I'm a water baby.
Do you have feet problems? That's a little side.
What, as in like feet issues?
Yeah, often Pisces get feet issues.
Oh, because they're fish. They're not supposed to have
Yeah,
legs.
you're not supposed to be walking.
You got fucked feet?
Do you have bunions?
No, not bunions. I went to a Snoop Dogg concert recently, and afterwards my big toe on my left foot went numb, and it's still numb.
Oh, did someone tread on it? No, it just fell asleep to Snoop.
I think it's just I'm old, and I had to stand for 3 hours, and my toe went. No, fuck you, I'm out.
I'm a fish, man.
No.
I'm a fish.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a fin.
Classic. So, would you rate your time in the jungle as like a life experience that you are so grateful and fortunate to have gone through?
Yeah, isn't it annoying when people say that? But it's true. It's like having Americon saying, "Oh, SAS changed me."
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah,
it did. It changed him, and the jungle changed me in a really good way. And it's a combination of things. I always knew that I'd make really good friends in there. That's what happens. That's what happens when you're tight with people in this concentrated, weird space.
It's called trauma bonding, is what that is. It's trauma bonding.
It is. But it wasn't all trauma. It was just they're good people, and that's what I find happens in these situations where you scrape away the layers and you take away the comforts, and that's the intention of the show, isn't it? To find the essence of the people, to see people.
Well, I think it cuts out a lot of the noise of which consumes all of us, right? Whether it be fucking Wi-Fi signals or telephones or long list of jobs that you got to do for the day, or just pressures from family and professions, and all that is, you're isolated from all of that. So all of that noise that just weighs really heavily on you goes away, and you're forced to sit in on your own thoughts and feelings.
Some people can't do that.
There's no escape. You can't do anything else. So the gift
that
I got out of it was I got to look through all parts of my personality and go, oh, I don't like that bit. Oh, I like that bit. I'm proud of that bit. I don't like that bit. I don't like that bit. So I was doing like a bit of a stock take of myself inside, because you're sort of forced to, and it was that was nice, and I was able to confront things that I didn't like in my own personality, and then sort of work on them, and that sort of started the whole. All right, I've got some work to do here, and I'm happy to do that work. And I don't think I would have started that journey had I not been forced into that situation where the rest of life was stripped away, and for the first time in my life, I had pure clarity.
There's clarity, there's space to do it, and we don't give ourselves that opportunity often enough in life, do we? It's a meditative space, and and a valuable one if you know what to do with it. And I enjoyed watching you in the jungle and seeing that vulnerability and seeing those decisions being made in front of an audience. It's a weird thing to do, isn't it? But the decisions, things like, all right, I'm going to work on myself. I think one of the most boring things to hear from someone, other than let me tell you about my dream, is I've been doing a lot of work on myself. Don't sort yourself out, mate. but we're getting to a stage now where that's actually quite a brave thing to admit and a hard thing to do. And the more we talk about it and take away the old stigmas of, toughen up, princess, which is where I was brought up like that, not by my parents, but by society.
Yeah.
The more that we can, I guess, do what women have been doing for ages, which is talk about feelings. The more we practice that and get better at it, the more we're going to move towards that. Not quite utopia, but at least less shit than some of the things you're seeing on the news these days. Some of the, just encouraging.
Not being so
honesty.
isolated inside
Not being
yourself.
isolated. You're not alone, and that's what so much of history has been, especially mental health issues. People just feeling alone.
I think I didn't go in there as for showmanship for doing that, because you're right. Like sometimes people when they're on a mission of self-discovery, they're kind of like cyclists or Tesla owners. They have to tell everyone, "Oh, I just did 45 k's on the bike this morning." What, you don't ride? What an idiot! What an undeveloped fucking idiot!
Yeah.
Oh,
you're wrecking the planet, asshole.
But I had to do it deliberately because my defense mechanism, and having been in television for 20 fucking years, is to pretend first, right? Because I don't believe I belong there, because I don't believe I'm good enough. I don't believe I'm smart enough. I'm always trying to propel a better version of myself because I have very little self-worth. So I was like, when this came along, I was like, man, if you're going to do it, fucking do it. And whatever you feel, whatever you learn, fucking say it. Because I've been plastic fantastic for most of my life. Ryan used to use your analogy a little earlier on, Guy Smiley. Just smile through the bullshit, right? So I'm like, it has to be more than this. Why shouldn't it start in here? Because I had to take off all those television muscles that were the first impulse was to cover myself up and pretend. And
you can't do that for that long. You can't do it for that long.
You can't fake it for that long,
No.
That's the fascinating part of shows like that, isn't it? That's actual, I guess, what reality TV is. You are seeing a reality, and you're seeing it with people that we all put on pedestals in society and go, no, that person's always happy. And if Clown Boy does something sad,
that makes
us
us identify, and we feel real. That
I've always felt as the clown of like an archetypal clown, being trying to get around and say the truth and expose bullshit and go, the king's got a big nose, and not being executed for that. Like what a jester is supposed to do. It's a big responsibility, but then seeing the other side of a human who is playing that role, it creates this pathos where it's if you see a clown being sad, it's hard. It's like you're not doing your job as a clown, but then you realize, the clown is doing their job. The clown is doing their job of, I had really lovely feedback after the jungle of people saying, thank you for showing us a different version of masculinity, which is very different from what we've seen for decades gone by. And I was lucky to have father figures in my life, which I learned from. I learned from my father and my stepfather about, being honest with emotion and not afraid to be artistic or be creative. And so I feel like I was lucky with my upbringing, but then to have the honor of working in this kind of industry where the camera is on you, and what do you do with that platform? What do you do with that soapbox or your high horse. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
Like you can just try and make money, or you can make money and maybe move us forward in some way, shape, or form. And it was a surprise and a really lovely one to get the feedback about it, you know, showing a different kind of masculinity. But this is what I'm trying to teach my son and, you know, and my daughter. But this is, I want them to see that men aren't all what you see on TV or on the news. Men aren't, you know,
Banana Man.
disgust.
Banana Man.
Remember that stupid show, Banana Man? Always strong. You know,
Yeah.
that cartoon on the ABC,
I do
doesn't
remember
it?
Banana
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Eric,
Eric.
Yes.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Banana Man.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like such a
Eric.
stereotypical, I don't know where that came from, but such a
Eric?
stereotypical.
Yeah, I think
yes,
so.
it was.
And when Eric has a banana,
Yeah.
he turns into Banana Man.
Yes, but it's so, yeah.
It's about the same era as, do you remember Jamie and his magic torch? And he would shine the torch on the ground and it would make a slide. Go and you,
No,
okay.
I don't remember
No.
Jamie. Oh, Roger Ramjet, but not
Roger
not Jamie.
Ramjet.
When Roger takes a proton pill, the crooks begin to worry.
Oh,
That's
that's
it.
right.
It's showing I'm not to beat him. Roger Ramjet, he's on
and
friend.
Inspector
He's a man,
Gadget
hero of the
and
nation.
yeah, but
Inspector Gadget, Monkey Magic, Goodies.
Monkey Magic.
Doctor Who.
Oh my
good
god,
shit.
I loved Monkey Magic.
But we've always felt right when we talk about portraying a different kind of masculinity. Shazzy and I both worked in newsrooms for a lot of the earlier part of our career, and I don't know about Shazzy, but I feel guilty because I think the damage that news does to the community, to humanity, is so bad. It lowers the vibration so much in all of us because it drives fear. Its only job is to portray fear, because that goes back to that caveman aspect, that fight or flightiness of where we're trained to look for fear because our lives are dependent on it. And news just serves up fear. What do I need to be afraid of today? What do I need to be afraid of that today? And they do that because they want you to return tomorrow to see what you need to be afraid of tomorrow. And I feel so bad about being a part of that machine, you know, even though I was only the weather guy, you know, and a little bit of a journo prior to that. But I felt I was part of the machine that was trying to scare the life out of all of us unnecessarily.
But I don't think that when we worked in the newsrooms that it was such a machine.
No.
I feel like that back then it had good intentions to inform people. That's why the news was, you know, developed early on. But now you've got so many conflicting, you know, but you've got so many places that can run news and, you know, Daily Mail, online news, clickbait. Like they have to compete to get you to come back.
So they've elevated the game of fear.
Yeah. And
It's a question that I've asked many newsreaders through the years. I've said specifically, why do you only do bad news? And then maybe at the end, someone saved a kitten
yeah.
to make you go, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a psychology behind it, and it probably is a lot to do with the caveman thing and whatever. But the response I always get is, that's what people want. They want to feel better about themselves by seeing how shit everything else is in the world. And I'm like, I don't agree with that either. Stands anymore. I don't think we.
No.
I think we can move beyond that.
Yeah.
And so I actively seek out, you know, for instance, on Instagram, I'll actively seek out places that will give me good news, and it might be this old lady. I found one this morning that is a perfect example. An old lady got a basket full of googly eyes and went to a supermarket and stuck the googly eyes on all the products so that when, when people bought a product, it had the googly eyes.
That is so
that's
cute.
Like, oh, that's lovely. And I mean, that's not important. That's not an important news story, but it's just seeing. It was an old lady and hanging out with it. I think it was with a younger person, and the younger person was helping the older person. The old lady had a great time. She felt seen, which is ironic because she was sticking eyes on things. But whenever in the past I've gone, okay, where's the good news? I'll type in good news, and it's
very rare.
It's steered towards Christian good news, because
right, yes.
they kind of own
good news.
That space.
Christ has risen, but that happened a very long time ago.
It's beautiful and lovely, but I've found it hard in the past to find dedicated sources of uplifting news.
Yes.
Seeing the quiet people do something
Yes.
that just help someone little, might help an old lady have joy and feel seen, or it might help a country feed their people, or it can be small or big. But
Yes.
that's the news that I want to fill my head with. And so I think we've all got the ability these days to live in a bit more of a bubble. I can't put the news on at home because I don't want my kids to see.
No.
God, no.
As they get older, I have to, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, kids, but this is the world. Hello, have a look at the world.
Yeah.
But
it's such a small snapshot too, because often because when I worked on the chief of staff desk in news, I remember, whatever you get shots of, then that hits the news. And so, you'd find out that
Car drove into a house at a roundabout.
That's right.
House fire overnight.
That's right. So
It's just full of that shit.
and the crew is, just accidentally driving past the house where the car is driven in. There you go. Top news story. It's really not that relevant. It's not a huge news story. There's probably heaps of other news stories. This is in TV news anyway. Heaps of other news stories that would have happened over the night that are much more important or vital to know. But you run with that.
Good vision.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Good vision.
Yeah.
Or the company that owns that broadcasting network has specific agendas.
Yeah.
So
Right,
it's
there is a bit of that too.
Yeah.
Have you watched Succession?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So
We've really enjoyed that, actually, haven't we?
yeah, good fun.
That is good TVs.
Yeah.
I just looked at the time. We're
I better let you go.
Yeah, but I feel like we need to do a part 2
go.
of this chat, Dylan.
Not going.
Yeah.
We haven't even started.
Well, you can not go.
This
I'll
feels
just
like the
press
preamble.
That's
No,
easily
it's
fixed. I just have an end all button here on this Zoom, so it's fine.
No, it's been so good. It really has, because we really adore you, and we just, I don't know, you light us up and you inspire us. So thank
That's
you.
Really lovely. Thank you. And thank you guys as well. I think you guys are doing a great thing. I can't believe you. How many seasons have you got?
We've got 8 seasons.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's only 3 eps a season, though, mate. That's our hack.
It's genius. And
Yeah.
it looks good on paper for getting international guests.
It's classic, actually, when
No,
people
I-
go, yeah.
I love what you guys are doing, and and I love what you have done as well, and that
Thank
the
you.
vulnerability that you showed in the jungle was it was in my mind a lot when I was in there, Grant. It was I remember you talking about things that would have been really hard for you to watch as well, Shezzy, and just
It was.
talking about really personal stuff, and knowing that you're a real person and that you're not putting this on, and then knowing that you've made that decision to go, all right, I'm going to address this, and it's going to be difficult for my family to watch. But that's, and don't get me wrong, I like knowing that you did work on yourself. As long as you don't just come at me and say, I've done a lot of work.
What if I do a lot of work and own a Tesla and have a bike on the roof of the Tesla? How would that be if I give you
The
those
holy
3?
trinity of banker. A lot of my good friends.
Righto, mate. We're going to leave
Classic.
you. Love you and leave you. Thanks for the chat. We've really
Thanks
appreciated
so much. We love you. We
Love you, Daniels.
can't wait
Thank
to see
you.
you back on our screens. Woo
Oh,
woo.
that's nice. Thank you. Me too.
it. Keep evolving, mate. Talk to you
I'll
soon.
try.
Bye.
Oh,
What a
great chat.
I have to drive this Zoom because you don't know how to drive
Well,
it.
we're going to hang
do
up
you?
on him, and he thinks we're still chatting to him, but we're just going to wave
It's
goodbye.
like when you say goodbye and then you get in the lift together.
All right, we'll do a second goodbye, and then one at the car.
We love you. Oh, bye. Oh, that was aggressive.
brutal.
Oh, sorry. That's just, we're very blue.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
you
Halfway
notice
through the
that?
chat with him, I've looked across and gone, we've done it again. We're wearing the same colours.
Yeah, but to be fair, today you got dressed before I did, and then I don't know why I just
Do you think that
gravitate to
I've
something. Oh,
influenced you?
I could have ironed that.
No, it's a minor issue.
Wow.
That was good fun.
Yeah, it was good fun. I love talking to people who aren't wankers and who have evolved, because I think that all of us in our younger years, we felt so confident and as he articulated so well, things were just coming at him and he was just like, yeah, just riding the wave. But then you hit 40 and you
Or
know,
50.
I think, or 50, you start to think about your impact on the world. Well, I know we have, and that's a really scary place to be sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't, particularly if everything that used to come your way automatically without any effort now stops, and you're forced to go, ooh, okay, I need to figure out who I am and what I'm going to do.
I need to reevaluate my purpose.
He articulated that, beautifully.
He did. What a legend. We love you, Dylan Lewis.
Yeah, he's good fun. Like I said, he was such an exciting broadcaster, and he is very different. So he was the year after I Went in the Jungle, was it? Yeah, he must have, because he won it the year. I thought was it before or after?
The year after. You poor thing, Grant's got eczema on his eyes.
Don't point it out. You
Well, I
can't
am,
see it.
because you look like I don't know, you look like you've been crying all morning, which,
My eyes are sore.
and I've been telling you to put eczema cream on it
Okay, this is a chat for off air.
and Vaseline.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We love you.
Yeah.
I don't know
Put
what
some
to say.
Anusol on those hemorrhoids. So you're going to do that straight after this podcast?
Well, how is your hemorrhoid? Is
Oh,
it sore?
you're a
Yeah.
mess. All right, we don't need to subject anyone to this. This is just horrific.
This has been
Thanks
a great
for listening.
chat.
Hope you've enjoyed
Thanks,
another
everyone.
wonderful chat. Deep, personal, open, and honest. That's how we like them on It's All True.
Woo!
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Shezzy Denya.
Bye bye.